Yes, okay, two people, and one we will share with you. Actually, you'll have the last one. एक आगे दे दो, by the time that question can start, बाकी पीछे जाएगा. Asmo, we start. I think by the time he gets the mic.
Thank you, Manoj ji. I just want to introduce myself. Unlike what you must have thought, that there is no bureaucrat in this room. There are many of us. Our Chief Secretary is also here. And I am of Secretary Education. We also had the similar problem as you had in Goa. While selecting computers for our schools, we had the problem of cutting the cost. But the way we solved the problem, I did not give the same advice as your secretary gave to you. But we solved this problem by saying that let's not make our entire generation dependent on any proprietary software. So we decided to go in for an open source software. So I just wanted to mention.
Thank you. Sir, gentleman with the grey hair. Yes, please give your name.
Yeah, I'm Ramesh Shastri.
And the question, please.
It's for Farooq and Sami.
Okay, Farooq and Sami.
I take a... You want me to stand up?
No, yeah, it will be better for the others.
Okay. Shall I?
Yes.
Okay. I take a second to just recap since it's some time since you have spoken. You were talking of addressing citizen wants through .com, .gov, .edu to give the best solution with least, what's the term used? Dilemmas. Oh. Okay. That's the citizen's wants. How will you reconcile a citizen's wants, which could be driven by greed, and the citizen's needs?
Shani, you want to try that?
Good politician.
I'm really desperate to be there. This has turned into quite an entertaining gathering. Sunil, you never told me it was going to be so good. Let me take a perspective at it. I'm sorry I did not catch the gentleman's name, but I am a businessman myself, and I am an investor in multiple companies which are doing successful. So let's take, for example, in context exactly what you asked. The United States government has passed regulation to fund smart grid. I left Procter & Gamble to pursue smart grid opportunities about 3.5 years ago. Now, one of the things that one has to figure out here is, if you go back to our presentation, we are stating that the government has to establish a framework. So there has to be some level of authenticity that needs to be put into place for approach. So the government here in the US established the smart grid policy and funding, which I decided to go capture. Now, you're absolutely correct. If that framework is not there, let me give you an example of a company called Enron. I'm not there, but Farooq, let me ask the question. Tell me how many people nod. Do you guys know about Enron and what happened with it?
Yes.
Okay, good. So there were no constraints around capitalism at that time, and Enron decided to stretch it to the point where there was a disastrous collapse. So back to your question, making it very pertinent, the right framework has to be put into place by the government, within which the three entities can come together to play. You give the capitalist any gap to exploit, they won't exploit it. They will blow it open, and that's the part that we have to be careful of. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Okay. Next question.
Long-winded question. I wanted to first thank Professor Mistry. Reminds me of my University of Houston days. I just joined after you left, but your
To the point, please, so that others can.
The model that Professor Mistry and Sami put up there, how does it start, and how does it catch fire in Gujarat?
Yes, I think that's a valid point. You know, working together in three modes. How will reform change? How will legislation change? How will industry behave if government was to be a partner and educational institutions were partners? Then the big picture is clear, but the mechanics of how we want to go about it has been left to the imagination. Farooq, would you like to address?
Yeah.
Briefly, sir.
Yes. I want to put this in the context of Gujarat. I believe Gujarat has a very visionary chief minister. And from what I understand from a number of people, he is not corrupt. What I also understand from his statements and his readings, that he is intellectually solid. Given those observations, and I could be wrong, I think there is a good starting point to move ahead. What is required is trust in the people. If the people do not trust each other, then certainly the whole thing will break down. When you are in a family, father, mother, and children, do you trust each other? Are you crooked with each other? If you are crooked with each other, that family will disintegrate. The choice is up to the citizen. As a citizen, am I going to be crooked, or am I going to be upright?
And my concern is there's no voice. There's no voice.
May I offer a more tangible approach also?
Go ahead.
Yes. So let me give a very specific place to start. For example, educational institutions, IITs, aren't just the hotbeds of inventions. Why aren't there just gobs and gobs of successful innovations coming out of there? There's one key thing that the government can do. There are multiple things. Multiple entities have to harmonize. So the reason the United States is so breakthrough in startups is there's one very specific reason. It's the bankruptcy law. You should see how when I failed, and you know I'm a South Asian, failure is a black mark for us. But when I failed successfully because the government allowed me to take what I created, my intellectual property, package it up, sell it so I could go start again. And as many of the folks from the government office and other entrepreneurs would know, in India you can't fail. You fail, you're done. And that is a very, very key thing. So the government created the framework so the people, when they fail, they do not die. Right? The Education Institute created the invention, and the .com, the industry, buys the invention to make it innovation. Did I answer the question?
I'm concerned about the voice of the people not being heard by the three institutions, the government, the industry, and the education institution.
Let me tell you what you have done. You have correctly identified that the voice of the people needs to be heard. They have to be part of the equation, and hence we have said citizen-centric eye-to-eye. That's what it means. Clearly, if the three people or the three entities do not take the citizen into account, if there is no transparency, there is no sharing, then certainly this model will not work. So you're quite right in your observation, but if you persisted in it, my answer to you is the citizen has to be involved.
Would you suggest a social media policy for the state of Gujarat?
I think so. I suggest you take it over tea so that we'll take last two questions. Mr. Kamlesh Udani and the guy in the red shirt. Yes. The man.
The question is to Mr. Farooq. We have proposed to Government of Gujarat the similar model that you are proposing for the chemical industries, that there should be a government, industry, and the research institute, a combination of that which should make an innovative model, and the invention or the innovation taking place should be also venture finance from the same complex. Now, what you are saying is little different than what we have proposed to the government. Is what you are making is a citizen-centric. Now, whatever we have proposed, are you considering it as citizen-centric, or how do you define citizen-centric?
So the question you have asked me, without having data, I cannot respond to you. I have to have data, I have to know a lot more of what you have said. We have put this presentation together, Sunil will have it, and I think the issue is that the government has to decide first whether they indeed wish to deal with the three constructs that we put forward for the 21st century, and then put together a group of people who, as we have suggested, are not necessarily from here, but who have credentials, impeccable credentials to advise. And this doesn't mean a consulting company who gives you a solution. These are people who put together something that the citizens get involved in and say, yes, this makes sense. There's a buy-in from everybody. And then once that is done, the principles are identified, then it goes to the bureaucracy to say, now start implementing. That's what happens.